If you throw at me hard questions like, are you doing a genocide? Are you doing a starvation campaign? Bring them up. Feel free. Don't hold back.
Are there moral trade-offs that you have to wrestle with while you're there? Are there challenges to your morality? Here's part 2 of my interview with Chaim. In this one, we dig into some of the hardest questions surrounding this war. You can hear about Chaim's personal journey and why he chose to join an elite unit in the IDF. That's in the first video that I'll link here. And I'll be bringing you more perspectives, Palestinian, Israeli, and beyond. So subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. But for now, we're going to step into Chaim's story, take a step deeper, and really get to the heart of the issue.
So none of this is fun. None of this is, well, look how fun of a day we had having to physically escort civilians out of there by a gunpoint. But whatever it may be, the case is they honor these terrorists as heroes for the children to emulate, as examples. Here's people that want to see death. They worship death. They're a death cult. Hamas is
Who
a
is this?
death
Hamas.
cult. Hamas. Same thing goes for jihadists.
How do you see that on the Israeli side? And like a lot of the world looks
Yeah,
at Israel and your fellow combatants
yeah.
as
And the
baby
numbers are
baby
very
killers,
much, yeah,
genocidal.
right.
Uh, you know, so if you look at the pure numbers and the accusations coming at Israel, there's Israel has killed tens of thousands of civilians in this war.
There's a word thrown out there called proportionality.
Or proportionality,
Is
but
it proportional the amount that they killed on October 7th to the amount that killed there? Way more Gazan
well,
Gazans, combatant and other, have died than were killed. 1,000, 2,200,
but aside from
1,500
what I'm saying is that if
Jews killed.
I'm
Yeah.
hearing what you're saying of like they love death, and there's arguments out there that Israelis love death. Like, how do you feel about that accusation?
They want to genocide us. We don't want to genocide all of them. They tried to genocide us. That's what the 7th of October massacre was. So we're pulled out of who we are and what we want into a scenario where we're willing to give up all to defend this country. I talked to friends of mine. I said, what did you do before October 7th? Well, I was running a restaurant. I had a restaurant. I loved it. I love serving people. I love cooking food. I'm a cook. That's what they see. Again, we're not career soldiers. I had one guy, he's like, I'm a librarian. I'm like, you're a librarian and you're now driving a tank. You're a library. You mean you just putting books in alphabet order,
Right.
which is the Hebrew alphabet, gimel, dal, hey.
So you're saying
You know,
these people are taken out of their civilian lives.
they're yanked out of their life against nobody wants to be there. It's not because of what we hate in front of us, but because of what we love behind us that we go into the army. That's the facts. I don't know if that answers your question.
I think so. I'm trying to.
But you're saying, are we driven by hate?
Well, because
Are
there's
we
a
love
converse
death?
there's a converse to what you're saying, which is like, Israelis love life and they love all of this.
Yeah.
In the converse, the implication, I don't know if this is what you're
My
implying,
name
is
Chaim
that
means life.
in Gaza they don't. I don't know if that's what you're trying to say, but there's a complication here. Like, I've seen the videos, you've seen the videos of Gazan children being taught in school, like, yes, I want to be a shaheed, I want to be a
Yes.
martyr, I want to kill Jews, and Jews should
Yes.
be stabbed if I had the opportunity. Also in the West
Yes.
Bank, that there is it's a
Oh, you
dire.
said the West Bank, meaning Jews doing a
No, no,
similar
this is I'm
training?
talking about
Okay,
no, no,
no,
no, I'm talking
because
about
that doesn't.
Palestinians in the West Bank or in Judea and Samaria.
Yeah. It
Uh,
comes down to parenting.
So
That
there's a
Jews aren't taught
conditioning
like
there.
that.
Well, Hamas took over in what,
Mhm.
2006? So that's 20 years. I mean, kids that are 20 years old grew up knowing only Hamas rule. So
That's
there's
right.
there's a there's a challenge there, so much so that there have been Israelis who have said there's no such thing as non-combatants in Gaza. And I'm curious on your perspective. Like, you met these
I don't know
people.
about that. The truth is recognizing mountains of food, mountains of flour, mountains of unused food discarded by the Gazans. This is the thing. There's no genocide. Never was a genocide. That is a complete and bold-faced lie to slander Israel. Now, are there those Jews who says I'm going to block the road and I don't want them to get food? Yeah, there are some that are those are called extremists who say we're against giving our enemy food. There are some extremist Jews who have that opinion,
Well,
yes.
that was the policy. That was something I took a lot of issue with early on, was when shutting off the water into Gaza. I did not like that. I did not think that was the right move.
No,
And that was
100% not.
corrected
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm curious your opinion on that.
Yeah. So the way I would say is it's good to look at the truth face on and realize that a lot of them would like to aid and abet the Hamas. A lot of them did aid and abet the Hamas. A
For
lot of
sure.
those innocent civilians came in and actually murdered people at a music festival that weren't Hamas. They were, you could see the videos. There's
That's
6,000
my
people that
understanding
came
as well.
through. 6,000
There are
people, they
certain,
weren't
that's what
all
I'm saying. I'm
Hamas.
agreeing with you that there's certainly
With
civilians who
that,
are not
right,
innocent.
with that
The
understanding,
rest of the civilians, though, are essentially held hostage by Hamas. I don't know if they have
yeah.
the agency to
Well,
do anything
there
about it.
is a Western misunderstanding that thinks, well, if we just got rid of Hamas, then suddenly the people would say, now let's do free and fair elections and make sure there's balance of power, and that's what we think is going to happen. No, they don't do that. They're not trained like that. Their brain is, I'm under tyranny and I'm used to that, and I'm just going to be the next tyrant. That's what the innocent civilian is going to say. This is a hard to recognize truth. It has to be a whole change of perception. It takes years, but they're just going to try to be the next Hamas. The next person is going to be like, I want to have money, women, and drugs, and whatever it is, and be the next warlord, because that's what their goal is. That's what they're trained to have as a goal. I'm talking about the innocent civilians here. That's their goal. You got to change that. Now, do I believe collective punishment is how you do it? No. Shutting off the water is not right. Shutting off food is not right. That's not the way to change it. You got to go deeper than that. And those people who were blocking the road are very bad. The Jews that were blocking the food, trying to block the food from going in, that's very wrong. That's not the way to solve it.
Meanwhile, a lot
Although
of this food is being hijacked by Hamas. It's such a and used to fuel the war machine
others would
against
say
Israel. It's such a complicated.
Others would say dragging this on this long is not good for anyone, not the Jews or the Arabs. Maybe you do shut off the water, electricity, and everything. I'm just saying this is a perspective, not my perspective. The a perspective is let it go as bad as it gets, and then it'll be over quicker. Then there will be such a pressure to make them surrender. The people will turn on them, and the people will say, "We need water here. You freaking evil Hamas! You need to stop oppressing us, and we're going to help the Israelis because we
I
need
just think
literally to be forced to a point of decision. Whereas dragging it on 2.5 years is maybe more cruel,
I
giving them
just
all
think
this food."
that then, in order to be to say, which essentially is what you've said, and is that Israel like to have the moral high ground. But like, let's say that that's true, right? That Israel has the moral high ground here.
Yeah,
Um, whatever. It's just in a general sense. In order to have a moral high ground and
maintain
make
it.
that claim,
Yeah,
then it calls you to a
that's
higher
right.
thing. And then if you're accusing, like you're saying, innocent quote unquote civilians and that are joined with Hamas that are
Yeah,
raping and murdering and doing all this of Israeli civilians, if then Israel is turning around and saying, well, we're going to shut the water off to those
that's
innocent
bad.
civilians,
Yeah,
then there's no moral high ground
it's
anymore.
correct.
I tried my best in this conversation to relate to Chaim as just another person with an opinion, not necessarily representing an ideology or an institution. And I noticed something. We were able to get past the stories and the narratives surrounding this war and really just talk about the war itself and all the pain and the moral questions that it raises. We stopped talking about ideas and start just talking about the realities. And at least for me, that's when we really got to the heart of the matter. For more content like this and other perspectives, subscribe to my channel, stay tuned, there's a lot more to come.